Welcome back to another episode of GameSpark. I'm Susie Grace, and today is episode 3. So now that I've interviewed both my siblings, both of whom are diehard gamers, it was time to venture out and find someone I wasn't related to interview about their gaming backstory. Let's get to it. Today, I have a very special guest. Today we have Michael! Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
My name is Michael, also known as Zybotch, and I am a gamer.
So Michael has actually been in my Twitch community for a really long time. I am really excited to hear his answers for my questions tonight. It's going to be great. So let's start with your earliest gaming memory.
Ooh, I love that question. So earliest gaming memory, I remember my dad walking up the stairs with those big giant TVs. This is like 1989. That's how old I am. Walking up the stairs with this big giant, like with the wood grain TV, and right on top of it was the Nintendo Entertainment System. And
Yes.
the first game I ever played was Mario Duck Hunt, and I have it right here.
Oh my
This
gosh!
is the very first game I ever played. Yes.
So that's like it. Like
And-
that's the actual game that you
This is the one.
like blew into when it didn't work and like put it in the
licked it, the forbidden waffle in there.
That's
Yeah.
it! Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. I love that.
Yep. And then I remember like playing Duck Hunt, and my dad was showing me like, you have to stand back and shoot it. And I'm like, why would you do that when you could just go right up to the TV and
It's true.
you never miss? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's my earliest gaming memory. Like him even bringing up the TV to show it. That was my first gaming memory.
That's amazing. I love that. And I love that you have the actual game. Like, that makes me so happy. Oh my gosh. So, then what is your spark game? What is the game that got you into gaming in the first place, that made you fall in love with gaming and, like, you knew you were in it for the long haul?
Well, that's a great question because, like, you could probably say Mario Duck Hunt was the spark game, but I think what, like, changed my relationship with gaming beyond, like, being super linear and, start, end, and that's it, was, like, Diablo. So like Diablo,
I know
you get to choose your
nothing
character.
about Diablo.
So it's like it's a role playing game. It's like live action Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
But like you get to build your own character the way you want it. I remember the game there was the first one where they had like animated cutscenes.
Oh.
And there was like a lore and story, and you could beat it the way you wanted to. There was like not one way to beat it. You can be like a spellcaster or the warrior or an archer. And whatever, so this is the first game that I was like, wow, I can beat the game the way I want to. Like, that's amazing. That from then on, it increased my expectations of what gaming could be.
Interesting. So when was Diablo released?
97, if I remember correctly.
What?
96, 97. And I played it like in the late 90s, like 99.
Diablo was
and
released
then-
in 97?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, it's an old
Whoa.
game. The first Diablo, yeah.
That was like, wasn't that when Final Fantasy VII was released? 97?
I think so.
I think that was the
so,
first.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I did not realize Diablo has been around for so long. I thought Diablo was like a new-ish kind of
Oh, yeah.
gaming game, but I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah, and then the story of Diablo just has its own of creating the game has its own evolution and story, which is super interesting if you ever want to look into it by itself.
Okay. Well, there you go. Lots of interesting stuff regarding Diablo. I know a lot of people love it. I don't love it was a little too violent for me when I watched a clip of it on YouTube a couple days ago. I was like, ooh, no, this is definitely not a Susie game, but that is okay. Okay, so my next question is, what is the first game you ever played and beat all by yourself?
I have it right here.
Oh my gosh.
And it was
I love that
it
so
was
much.
during many road trips on the first ever Game Boy. I remember going to the store. This is back when GameStop was Funkoland, and going to the kiosk,
It
and
was
I'm like,
what?
what kind of action game can I? GameStop used to be Funkoland.
Funkoland?
Yes, it used to be called Funkoland. Yeah, and then
Okay.
they turned it into GameStop.
Is that
yeah.
where Funko Pops came
And-
from?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm learning so much. Okay. All right. Funko Land. Awesome. You went in and said,
it
I
used to
need
be
an
called
action game.
Funkoland. I'm like, I get an action game. He's like, I got you, fam. And he's like, have you ever played Metroid? and I have it right here on the Game Boy. Metroid 2, Return of Samus was the first game I ever beat. And I remember beating it, and I was like, oh, there's no more game. That's it?
That's the
What do I do with myself now? Yeah.
Joe said the same thing. He was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
like, I'm proud, but at the same time, like, what do I do with my life? Okay, wait.
Yeah.
My mind is
Yeah.
blown. There was a Metroid on Game Boy? I thought Metroid
one.
was only on Nintendo, like, NES and then SNES. My mind is blown. I'm learning so much. Okay, so my next question is, what 3 video games have impacted you the most?
I have them all right here. So we're both Metroid fans,
Yes.
right? So I remember first watching the commercial for Metroid Prime 1,
Oh,
and I was like, first person Metroid? I'm like, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And it is a masterpiece.
it is.
And I have it right here. Yes. The first Metroid
OG!
Prime, I was hooked on it.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
hooked on it. I have the remake somewhere over here too, but this is the GameCube one, the original. And I played it to death. Yeah, I loved it so much.
How many
Yeah.
times do you think you played it?
Oh. So I would do stuff like, I would play it and then put it down for like 5 years. And then I would pick it up again after 5 years. And I'm like, oh yes, this is why I love it. And then I would, yes. And then like another 5 years, I'd be like, oh, I should maybe play Metroid Prime again.
It's
So, yeah.
never too
And
soon
then-
to play Metroid Prime again. ever.
The last, okay, the 5 years is up, I should play it again, was when the remaster came out. So I was like, perfect.
Yeah,
let's
it was
play it
perfect
again.
timing.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
All right, Metroid Prime. That's a great one.
Metroid Prime. And then I have Resident Evil 4. So,
Wait a minute.
Um,
Resident Evil 4 was on the GameCube?
oh yes, it was originally released on the GameCube.
Blowing my
I'm constantly
mind.
blowing your mind in this interview. Did you know Twilight Princess was on the GameCube too?
Yes, I did. I knew Twilight Princess was on GameCube. I did not know Resident Evil was on any sort of Nintendo platform. I thought it was PlayStation.
I think the director or the producer of the GameCube version was like, or Resident Evil 4 was like, I'll never release it on any other platform, and then like a year later you release it on PS2.
Oh, okay.
but yeah, it was originally released on the GameCube, and it was so like there was like RPG elements and then just like interactive cutscenes, which I'd never seen before, and I was just
Okay, wait.
could
Interactive
never
cutscenes. Explain
yeah.
what you mean by that. You mean like
yeah.
Metroid Dread kind of interactive cutscenes where like the counters where you're still kind of controlling Samus, or like you can move around?
Very
during
similar.
cutscenes? Okay, all right.
Very similar. So, like the cutscene would play out, and then like maybe the enemy in the cutscene like comes to attack. You have to start controlling and like press A to resist or something like that.
That sounds
or
so
you get into like a knife fight. yeah, but like this is the first game I played with it.
Yeah.
And
Mind
I
blowing.
never felt mind blowing. I never felt like I had enough from it. And it gave you so much, like it's a long game and you never get bored playing it, which was like amazing. So like, yeah, just like upping the expectations I get from playing games was like really, Resident Evil 4 did it. So
Is it
Resident
scary?
Evil 4.
Is it so scary?
Is
it not Susie friendly?
It's not Susie friendly at all. There's decapitations in it.
There's what?
You can get decapitated in it in gruesome detail, so you should probably not play.
No. I have no interest in Resident Evil.
Chainsaw. With a chainsaw.
No! Oh, no. I'm out. But listen,
By a hooded figure.
anybody can play Resident Evil. I do not judge. Anybody can play whatever games they want. I just know what games I don't play, but that's because I'm a weenie. Whatever. All right. Resident Evil 4 and
okay.
Metroid Prime. Those are. I assume those are good games. I don't know. I mean, I've played Metroid Prime, but I'll be honest. I've heard a lot of hype for Resident Evil 4. A lot of hype. So.
I'll give you one guess on what the last one is.
I'm feeling Zelda vibes. Yay! It's so good. Oh my gosh, it's so
Yes.
good.
It's so good. It was such an evolution, just like story-wise. It was so compelling. and like Midna had an arc, and Link had a backstory, and like his backstory played into defeating Ganon, which I think was just so like such a cool like story point, which was like, you know, like wrangling those goats, you know, not expecting anything in life, and then coming back and saving the kingdom and using your skills wrangling those goats. I'm getting goosebumps, Susie. Like when you defeat, you know, the you know, the goat Ganon or whatever he was, and by like wrangling him, I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
This is perfect. It was so cool. I love Twilight Princess.
Man,
so good.
I had just forgotten that part of that Ganon fight even existed. Like I was thinking in my head, all right, Zant, and then I was thinking Ganon, kind of like Zelda puppet-ish, and then I was just moved like straight on to like chasing him on a horse. But the meat of that battle is him as like this gigantic creature. Spoilers. But yeah, you use like the same. You're right. That's amazing. That was actually probably
those kind of callbacks. Brilliant storytelling.
Yes.
There was so many like little things like Ganon like still had the sword from the sage that he killed. Like that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a great storytelling. Yeah. Little details like
Yeah.
So good.
All right. My next question is, have any games made you cry? Give me a short list.
I came up with 3.
Okay. Okay.
And then I wanna talk about like why they made me cry.
Okay.
So like the first game that made me cry was Grease. And Grease is spoilers for Grease. Yeah. Gris. It's
beautiful game. It's stunning.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a piece of art that's masquerading as game as a game.
I agree.
But it's about grief, but I didn't know that going in. I just went in for like the beautiful art, and then slowly like the game reveals to you that the character's going through the grief of losing her mom. And it was just so like the way they illustrated it and the way they demonstrated it was just so compelling. Like I felt for the character, and yeah, I think it was the first game I ever cried in. It was the first game, yeah.
Okay.
And it was beautiful. Yeah, and this realizing that was her journey, and her getting over it or her confronting it was bringing color back to her world was like just an amazing artful way of displaying that kind of coming out of a dark place. Second game that made me cry, Hellblade. So we have Senua, who is a Pictish warrior in the 8th century who suffers from schizophrenia, and she's ostracized by her community for her mental illness. And the only person that was ever kind to her was a person named Dillian, who eventually became her lover. And he was the only person that showed her love. And he ends up dying in the game due to a Viking raid. And there was legends that if you take somebody's head to the gates of hell, you could bring them back to life. And since he was the only person that showed her love and kindness and compassion in her community, there was no question. Like, she would give her life to bring him back again. And you don't realize it during the game what the significance is. You know that she's doing it for him. You barely know who Dillian is. But
so you don't ever meet Dillian. Do you never meet him?
He's not a playable character, but in cutscenes you end up throughout the game you end up realizing their significance.
Okay.
And he was so like kind and didn't judge her and was so compassionate. And anybody who shows that to you, you would give the world to bring them back. You would go through hell and back. And that's what she did. She went to the gates of hell to bring back the only person that was ever kind to her, the only person that showed her love. And just that kind of sacrifice was so moving. I was a mess during the entire game. being ostracized by a community and having that one person like show you compassion and understanding, it's the world to them. That's the world to them. So just like that specific experience was just so compelling to me.
I love stories that
mm-hmm.
can elicit that kind of response. I really do, because that's I mean, yeah, games can be like fun and crazy and stuff, but games that have real storylines that are deep and immersive and emotional and they connect with people, I think that's wonderful. So okay, game number 3.
Doing my best to like hold it together for the interview, but like I was a baby during the whole game. I'm like, I can't do this.
But you finished the game? Did you finish it? Yeah.
Like twice, yeah. But the message is so powerful, and like slowly throughout the game, you reveal how much what she meant to him and how kind he was to her. Like it's so beautiful.
Wow. Thank you so much for being so raw and sharing that. I actually really, really appreciate that. What is
I can't talk about Hellblade without tearing up. It's really it's compelling.
Really had an effect on you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if I ask?
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if I ask?
Oh,
have you ever experienced that in your life? Being ostracized because of?
Well, like suffering through depression as a young man, you don't know what's wrong with you, but there's something wrong, and you have to like figure it out on your own. And in my experience, I could identify with it completely, because there wasn't that one person. I didn't have a Dillian. Like I had to like struggle through it on my own. But just having that one person that like understands, like it does so much for people. Like and that I try to be people's Dillian sometimes, like through their tough times. Like I want to be able to kind of help people get through their dark times sometimes.
We all need a Dillian. Everybody. I don't care who you are. You need one. So be that person for everybody you meet in your life. I think that's so important, especially in a world that is becoming more and more divided and more kind of ostracizing. Like if you don't agree with a person, or if you don't believe the same thing that a person does or whatever, we can still always be kind, and being kind really doesn't take that much effort, and it's free, and we can all do it. So I'm a huge advocate for that. So thank you so much for sharing. Okay, game number 3. Sorry, I'll move on for you.
I'll try to keep it together for the last one, but it was actually Mario Odyssey, and there was 2 moments that made me cry.
Okay.
At the end of the Metro Kingdom, what was it called again?
Oh gosh, I played Mario Odyssey and I cannot remember any of the titles. I played it, but I can't remember like what each place was called.
Everybody was like celebrating and thanking you for helping them, like bring the city out of corruption, and they did that by recreating like Donkey Kong and the first Donkey Kong and Mario game. It like you go into the pump to the tunnel, and then you come out as like pixelated Mario.
Oh, okay,
and then
yeah. I do remember this. Okay, I remember this.
New Donk City.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like that one made me tear up because it was just like a great moment. But like there's like another, like at the end of the game, like you get like a bonus like challenge. And when you go to the challenge, you're there with Cappy, and every like character you've had like a significant interaction with is there at the end. And they're all like waiting for you, and they're all like rooting for you. And they're like, we've seen your journey, and we've been on your side the whole time. And we're here to see you like complete your final challenge, and you could do it. Just like struggling, and then having so many people like celebrating you getting over all the challenges in your life was such an amazing moment. And like that was just so moving to me. And Mario's not a sad game either.
No.
Like Mario's not meant to be that way, but it was just like I'm like, oh my god, I can't take it.
You know what though? It doesn't matter what one of those moments it doesn't matter if one of those moments is in a happy game or a serious game or whatever. Those moments where everyone you've kind of helped that has come, that you've interacted with or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's in a video game or it's a book or it's a movie, those are extremely powerful moments, and they really kind of embody hope. I'd like to think that hopefully, you know, if you believe in an afterlife, I'd like to believe that that is going to happen someday when...
That's heaven.
Yeah, like that's heaven. That's all the people that you have been friends with and interacted with and helped and supported and cheered on from the sidelines or whatever. You know, that's what I choose to believe is going to happen at the end of my life. I sure hope so, because it's a pretty powerful moment. I
did my best to hold it together, Susie.
I am so...
I was looking off to the side. I have it right.
You know, is that like a secret? Is that like a secret ending? Because I don't feel like I got that ending.
Yeah, it's after Bowser. There's like a bonus like extra challenge, and it's like it's a really hard obstacle course. I actually never finished it, but I remember that the start of the obstacle course was all of them. Like, we've watched you the entire time, and we knew you could do it. It's so beautiful.
So here's my last final question. Why do you like playing video games?
You sent me that question about a week ago, and I couldn't think of a good answer until right before this interview.
Okay.
And why do I play games? It makes me a better person. There's so much that gaming has to offer that people don't realize. And, you know, depending on the game, there's cooperative, like, problem solving, there's compromise, there's learning about different people's experiences. There's empathy for people's struggles. You don't like really expect it to give you that, but you're also like involved in it, and you're getting all of, and you're getting the art of people who love to make what they do, and you're involved with it, and you have an active hand in it, and you come out of it better than you were when you went in. It's just meant so much to like my personal growth, understanding different experiences. Like, I feel very much that I'm a better person because I'm a gamer.
These are all excellent answers, Michael. Thank you so much for taking the time.
This is going to be hard to edit through because it's a little weird.
I just really, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And I appreciate your openness, and I appreciate your honesty and you bearing your heart in this conversation. I thought it was lovely. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
This interview was a perfect example of the effect video games can have on a person. I am so grateful to Michael for taking the time to talk to me and for willing to be so open and honest with his emotions about the video games that have affected him throughout his life. I agree 100% with Michael that video games teach empathy, and empathy makes people better people, and better people make a better world. So what's your earliest gaming memory? What are the games that have made you cry and feel empathy for the character that you're portraying? I can't wait to find out. I'll see you next time.